We would like to welcome you back to the Rugged Cast. It's been a while since we've done a podcast because we came back to the States and went to Overland SoCal, had a bunch of work stuff. Like it's our...
All over the place. All over the Southwest. Utah, Nevada, Arizona.
This is our busiest season for work that requires us to be certain places. Because we typically just work from the road, shooting photography and video for anybody, really. I mean, yeah, anybody that will pay us money to do it. So that
anybody within the industry. We've niched down.
Sure, but yeah, but it's, I mean,
I'm going to sneeze.
So we...
Okay, I'm good. No, I had another one. Now I'm done.
We are back on the road. We went to see some friends in Coeur d'Alene. Right now, where are we at? We're like in between.
We're technically in Oregon. That's what I know. We're at the point where Idaho, Washington, and Oregon meet.
We're very close to Enterprise, Oregon. I've never been to Enterprise before, but we will go there tomorrow and see what type of enterprise is kicking in Oregon. We are headed to Bend next. We're going to go to Bend, Oregon, and go see our buddy Josh at ZAMP. And then after that, we have a really cool client, Otzi Vans. Okie doke, I'm awake. We have a really cool client, Otzi Vans, who we're going to meet in a top secret location that is their like favorite place to camp in the world.
Honestly, if we had to lay out the roadmap for what the next few months look like, I think a lot of people would be overwhelmed. We're bouncing from state to state and then obviously heading all the way up to Alaska again in the summer.
Sure. Yeah.
Just like bing, 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 bing.
All the while we're like effectively homeless though. So it's kind of like comes with the territory. Yeah, I think the biggest changes that have happened since we last had a podcast are, one, we came back to the States. So there's a lot of change just there. Just because we're not like living in fantasy world in Baja anymore. We have been very busy, and I would say that we have like even further refined. I would agree with you. We've niched down even further in our business, and I think that just comes from the fact that we really did like Hail Mary into Baja. We didn't really know if this was all going to work.
Which direction it was going to go, whether we were going to have to go back to home base and just pick up local client work. Obviously, the goal was for us to be able to figure out how to make that work remotely, and that's daunting, trying to figure out how to make jobs materialize. But creative thinking and 7 years going at this, we were able to connect a bunch of dots in the right way, so it came together.
Yeah, I think just being flexible, just being willing to be flexible. And I think it helps that I had a very strong like work ethic and was a good employee for a long time. And I think that helps only because I've learned that a lot of business is just showing up, being on time, doing the right thing, like being likable, which are all things that you kind of learn if you want to be hyper successful as an employee. Mm-hmm. There's just a new version of it, right? I think since we last had a podcast, we got a dog too. You guys may not have seen Violet unless you follow us on other social media. And then you could also follow Wander With Violet?
Wander with Violet.
That's her
Page.
her IG.
Yeah.
So you can always. We've reached that level. We now have an IG for our dog. I feel like that's a special level of like social media. It's like the 7th level of social.
You're saying it's like cringe, like different levels of cringe.
No,
That's what it sounds
nope.
like.
I was being very literal, not suggesting anything by it. I was just saying we've reached that level of like of going.
We have a dog. She's photogenic.
She's
I'm
very.
Just saying, she's model.
She's a very pretty dog. She is technically a model. We can talk about that. Let's talk about that. Yeah. Not only is Violet a model, our whole family are apparently models now.
How goofy.
How weird. I quite literally made I went my whole life making fun of male models. And it's not, now that I've met some, they're nice people. What's funny is I think that I just had Zoolander
for sure
stuck in my head.
Yeah.
Where they were just these dim-witted, pretty guy. Like the files are in the computer, and I am always willing to eat crow in life in general, and I will say that I will eat crow there. Like
someone's saying that about you on all of the email campaigns that are coming out.
Oh,
like, I'm
sure that's true. Yeah. So we got invited to be a part of a photo shoot with 511, the apparel brand. At first, I'm going to be honest, I thought it was a hacker. Like I thought it was
spam.
I thought it was a spam message. Because it was just a message that came into our DMs on Instagram. And if it's business stuff on Instagram, a lot of times Amanda will just tell me to go handle it. And then like when it's, DMs with just our community, it's like 80% you.
It's not 100%.
20%
I do
me.
love that because there are the token few that will write that they have no idea who they're talking to. I find it hilarious.
Sure.
For what it's worth.
Because it is like effectively a family page.
For sure.
So I get the confusion. This photographer had reached out to us and he said, we'd like to hire you as talent. And I'm going to be honest, I also did not know what that meant at the time. We're
learning so much.
I almost purely assumed that like we would be shooting some of the content. Like I figured
that kind of talent.
I figured we would be tasked with filming or photographing something. And then when I spoke to them, finally on a meeting, they insisted we would be shooting nothing. We would just be just talent, just acting out.
Which is hard for us to do because photography is our life. So we did manage to not talk them into it. They were excited for us to do some behind the scenes stuff. So we got to get a little bit of footage in between all of the constant go of getting content. But I
will say that might be why I have a newfound respect for male models or just models in general. I will say that it is not easy work, like as you might have assumed. It can be fun. The shoot that we were on was especially fun because it was very like overland. There were dirt bikes. Yeah. There was like a Father's Day component, so I got to hang out with the boys as part of it.
The boys got to be part of it.
But it doesn't mean, just because it's fun doesn't mean it's easy. Like you're still up before dark or before light, and then it's like very fast paced because the production team, the company that hired the production team is paying a lot of money for all of this to happen. So they want to get as much done in as short amount of time as possible. So out of respect for that whole process, we went in with the mindset of like, we're just going to be as efficient and helpful as possible. Anything we can do to make the process move along, we'll do it. I think that was probably the biggest realization for me, was that like modeling is not in fact super easy. It is a very legitimate job. And then I will bless you with a term that I learned is there are fashion models. That is what I am not. And then there are corporate models.
No, commercial.
Commercial, that's what I said. Commercial models, which it turns out that is what I am. What did you learn, or what was like intriguing or interesting to you about the photo shoot?
Oh, I assumed that they were stuffy and not fun. And I had so much fun. Everybody kept commenting on the fact that I always had a smile on my face, which is like fairly typical for me whenever I'm out there doing like off-roading anything anyway. But yeah, I think that just the fact that it was as much fun as it was, I would have never seen that coming.
Yeah. Yeah, Atticus got exposure to Nurk, who is literally a world-class
champion,
world-class drone pilot. Like wild. He's currently, I think he commentates for the World Championship of FPV drone flying. The stuff he did was crazy
so fun
with
to
a drone.
watch.
It was very cool.
Oh my
and then
gosh.
like the results have been awesome to see as they've started rolling out. And Atticus like fell in love with that idea. He was
Atticus
like, "Oh, so
wants
you
to
can
fly a
just..."
drone really bad, and it's just not been something that we've invested a lot of time into allowing him to do, I think for kind of obvious reasons. So he's just like really, really obsessed with being able to fly a drone. And so then getting to see what Nurk did, he just over the top. Now Atticus has decided that that's what he wants to do for a career. And I was like, okay.
Yep. So it'll be, that would be, it's just cool. The boys have definitely continued to get exposure to a multitude of ways that they could choose to live life if they want to. And they have still been exposed to people who went to college and got good corporate jobs, right? Like they could choose to go that route. But they're also continuing to get exposure to people like Nurk or Jesse, who is like a professional photographer, and he is able to like live a fantastic life on the road as well, in an RV with his wife and his family, and
and that there are other careers outside of like media
just getting
stuff.
exposure.
Yeah.
Just getting general exposure. Like the boys have gotten so much exposure to different ways of life that is, I don't know, it's cool. I'm glad that they get to see that there's not just this linear path of like, well, I'm going to get straight A's and then I'm going to go to college and I'll become, a whatever, like a good...
Yeah. There's definitely or I will speak for myself. I have had moments where I've been able to like take a pause and kind of look, take a step back and just look from the outside. And I have these moments of where I feel just bursting with happiness and with pride in the fact that like we see the way that boys interact with a variety of individuals, like whether they speak English or not, or like different types of jobs, whatever, it doesn't matter. And they can just really handle themselves, and asking them like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And the answers that they give are not typical for an 8 and 9-year-old. And I feel like there are very few moments that you get to see like in the moment that you're doing something right. And this has been one of those things where it's like, I don't feel like I'm messing this up.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's been a fun ride. I think the current phase that we find ourselves in is the like be careful what you wish for phase, because I feel like, frankly, we have a lot of work. We have a lot to do. I think that we have done enough things right that we are getting busier.
Mm-hmm.
And now I know, like last month, that's probably a reason why we haven't launched a podcast. Last month we
had no time.
We just had so many things to do, and obviously we always have to prioritize our clients' work. I mean, that's obvious, right? Because they're the ones keeping the lights on.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I think that is the phase that I reflect with right now, is like just learning how to be more efficient, more diligent. Just like I find myself now just being very reflexive of if I need to make a phone call or send a text or send an email, it's like I just need to do it right now.
Mm-hmm.
I just have to do it right now and get it out of the way. Well, if I have service.
Yeah.
Right now I can't do anything because we don't have any service.
Yeah.
And we forgot our Starlink cable.
Well, we don't have power yet either.
Good point. Yeah.
We're in like a really weird in-between phase with
we're
the
also
current truck.
We're also sleeping in a ground tent.
Yeah, we're taking it back
for the first time in a couple, at least a number of years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I lied to Amanda and said that the tent is bigger when I set it up than I remembered. I frankly, it's going to be interesting.
Small?
It's going to be interesting for all three of us, you, me, and Violet, to sleep in it. But
well, I have a feeling that based on the temperature, it's going to be cold, and I may or may not just lay on top of you to steal every ounce of body heat.
Okay. So yeah, I know there's been a lot of growth, like mentally and emotionally. I think was Baja.
Yeah.
That chapter was like mental and emotional growth.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also were kind of finding new ways to like leverage our availability, leverage our time to be able to make money. And then now I think all of the growth lately has been in like business.
Yeah.
And like, how do we maximize efficiency and time and still frankly, like, be open to opportunities and also like actually enjoy the ride. Because I think that's
last few weeks have been pretty
for
brutal.
a few days there, definitely in the middle, I was like, this is not pleasurable.
Yeah. It doesn't help. We also came back to the Pacific Northwest and like for client work, and that's fantastic. But we came back to Washington in late winter, early spring, which is still very like gray, rainy, and cold. And we're just not acclimated to that.
Yeah.
At this point. So that took a while for us to get past as well.
For sure.
Still don't like the cold. Even though it's sunny out, I still, it's not for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So it continues to be a wild ride. But the good news is, I guess, I reflect back on the first podcast we made, which was like, I was emotionally not in a good place at the time, frankly. Like, I didn't honestly, out of the two of us, I had the most doubt that this would work. I was almost thinking that we're just going to go to Baja until we run out of money. And then, however long that was, just come back and be like, well, I'll go back to working on cars or whatever.
It was bizarre being the more optimistic individual.
Sure.
I'm always the one who's like anxious and overly cautious, and I was.
Yeah, I'm usually very optimistic.
Yeah.
And if a plan has even like a 15% chance of working out, I'm like, it'll probably work. Yeah. I require a very low standard to like enact a plan, and but reflecting now back on that time, wow, like I feel like I've reshaped who I am as a person at 35 years old.
Good job, you remembered.
I know, I remembered the right age. Pretty wild for me, because you kind of feel like, you get to be a certain age and you almost feel like you kind of go like, okay, this is it. I have stuff kind of figured out and this is what it's going to be. And man, is that not the case for me at least.
Yeah, no,
or for us.
I think that I was thinking about this the other day that I don't think that it would be wrong to say that I grew more in like personal journey in the past 6 months than I have in like the past 10 years. I think that there were some like really big hurdles that I've avoided for a really long time. And I faced like most of them head on and have made like leaps and bounds progress.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Baja will do that to you.
It will. You should go to Baja. You should go. You should also buy a flatbed. I am both the prophet for Baja and for the Ute tray.
And the Ute tray.
I think that's good for now.
Okay.
We very much so appreciate you guys watching or listening, however you are consuming this. If you have any requests, as always, like leave a comment, let us know, or DM us on Instagram, or send us a Facebook message or whatever. I don't know. There's a million ways. Use one of them. Let us know if you have a request or if you just want to flame me for my bad hair day because I didn't shower and I'm not wearing my hat. So appreciate you guys and have a wonderful day, and we'll catch you next time.